December 6, 2021. Can we please stand and say the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Just some process stuff here tonight. If you're going to speak, please be on camera. I'd prefer it if you were on camera for the whole meeting so we can see everybody. But if not, just turn your camera on when you're going to speak. And if you want to speak, put your name in the chat so I can see the lineup of who wants to ask questions. Representative Iacona, I think you have an announcement for us tonight.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I would like everyone to join me in welcoming Melissa Longo from District 1, who is replacing Amy O'Shea, who resigned.
Thank you very much. Melissa, welcome to the group. So we'll get started here. Our presentation order for tonight has Mr. Jim Brown for the Employee Retirement Board. He could not make the Board of Selectmen meeting today, and he couldn't make our meeting, so that's going to be put off until next month. So we'll move directly to the presentation order, agenda number 2, which is agenda number 5, which is the Historic District reappointments. And is Mr. Chris Shea here?
Yes, I'm present.
Thank you, Mr. Shea. We do have your information. This is a reappointment, but there are probably several people, new people on the RTM that don't know you. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself, your qualifications, and why you'd like to continue on.
Sure. First of all, thank all of you for serving the town. I really appreciate it. I've been resident of the town of Fairfield since 2005. And I am in District 1. I am a registered Republican. I have a construction company where I do residential remodeling and some new construction in Fairfield County. I love construction. I love residential work. I know a lot about it. I also love historic buildings and have become a bit of quite accustomed to doing work in historic buildings. I have made it a practice to not get involved in any of the properties that are in the 3 historic districts so that I don't have any potential for there to be a appearance of any sort of an issue. So I won't work on a project that is coming before the commission. I've been serving as a first an alternate. I was a clerk, and then I became a full commissioner. I served as chair. I'm presently serving as vice chair up until my term expired. And now I'm looking to just become just a regular full commissioner for my remaining for this following term, if you choose to have me be reappointed to the commission. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Shea. Are there any questions? I do not see any in the chat. Thank you for your prior service. I know when I needed windows in my house, you helped me out when you were on the commission. So I appreciate that, and I know you're qualified for this commission. I do not see any questions from anybody, so you're free to leave, and you don't have to come back next week.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it. Have a good night, everyone.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Mr. George Clark, are you with us?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much. You want to You know the spiel. Give us a little about yourself and why you want to do this and all that good stuff.
Okay, my name is George Clark. I live in Southport. I love historic homes. Old South is a very historic street. We spent 2.5 years remodeling a house here. I've been fixing and building homes in Fairfield as a second part of my life for many years. So I have a background in construction as part of my life. I was really in finance and business as my avocation. I've been serving as an alternate on the HTC with Chris, who was a good leader, and Adam. And I like very much being involved in working with homeowners to maintain the streetscape and maintain the look and feel of our town and our historic region. But at the same time, we do have to live in our houses, so it's an interesting tightrope we have, and it's really nice working with the homeowners and the HTC. And like Chris, I don't do anything. I try to stay out of the conflicts as much as possible. But thank you very much, and I enjoy serving. I'd like to do another term as an alternate. Would consider a full time, but while there's a position as an alternate, that's fine with me.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Maybe you could just explain what the difference is between an alternate and a full member and how that works. We have a lot of new members on the RTM, so.
Okay. Well, the HTC as a voluntary position meets once a month. We have 5 full-time members and 2 alternates, so that to get to quorum, the alternates step in as a to fill a void when one is it happens to have happens to exist. For the most part, we have pretty good participation, but the alternates are important as well.
Excellent. Any questions, folks? All right, seeing none, Mr. Clark, you are free to go, and you do not have to return next week.
Mark,
good luck, and thank you for serving.
Well, thank you very much. Enjoy. Yep. Good night.
Good night. Okay, we'll go to item number 3 is the FairTV appointment. Mr. David Kraft, I think I saw you on here somewhere. Okay. If you want to unmute and tell us a little about yourself and your background and why you want to be on this committee or commission.
Certainly. Thank you, Mark. My name is David Kraft. I originally lived in Fairfield about 21 years ago. Left and came back about 4 years ago. So I have a long history with this town. Before my time in Fairfield, when I was in college, my first experience in the world of television was in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I was an intern at Ann Arbor Community Access Television. And I mentioned that because from an early age, if you can call 18 or 19 early, I had my first experience recognizing and working in the field of community access local television. Fast forward through a 19-year career that I had at ESPN, both up in Bristol, Connecticut, and New York, where I worked in a variety of production roles. I wanted to contribute to the town of Fairfield and thought, why not tap into it this way to see if there's a way that I can positively impact the development of educational programming for FairTV and serve the town and its constituents in the process. So that's what brings me here tonight before you all, and I'm glad to answer any questions about myself or anything else you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Kraft. Nobody's too talkative tonight, okay? No questions? All right. Well, you're free to leave as well, and you will not have to come back next week unless somebody requests it, but you should be good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item number 4 is the Harbor Commission appointments. I believe we only have 2 of them here tonight. We can start with Mr. Donald Hyman. You're on the line here, I think.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, there you are. Well, you know the drill.
Yes. So I'm Don Hyman. I've lived in Fairfield for the last 42 years, and I'm an avid boater, kayaker, walker, cyclist, and I spend a lot of time these days, or for the last couple of decades, walking to and from Southport Harbor, paddling my kayak in and out of Southport Harbor and along the coast, and uh, being active as a member of Community Sailing of Fairfield, which, if you're not familiar with it, is a 25-year-old organization started by people in Fairfield that works in concert with the Recreation Department to provide safe, low-cost access to the Sound and Harbor through a fleet of small sailboats and kayaks that we keep in Southport Harbor. So I'm someone who's long been involved with using the harbor and promoting safety in the harbor, and I'm honored to have been asked to be a member of the Harbor Management Commission, and I look forward to working to give back to the town I love. I've been on some other commissions here. I've been on the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. I've been on the Land Acquisition Commission, and I'm a past president of the Aspetuck Land Trust. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Well, nobody wants to ask any questions tonight, I guess. The cat's got their tongues. Nobody's entering anything in the chat, so you're free to go. You don't have to come next week, but you obviously are invited to come if you want to see how the vote goes.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Douglas Metchick, are you here?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, sir. Let's hear a little bit about yourself and why you want to continue on with this.
How are you all? Thank you for having me. My name is Doug Metchick. I'm a Fairfield resident since 1997. I also own a business that's located in Southport. I'm an active boater and sailor. I've spent almost 2 decades in my career in the marine industry, so know quite a bit about the water. So that career also included running marine service yards in Maine. I served as an alternate on the Harbor Management Commission, and moving from an alternate into a full-time position. I've really enjoyed my time participating in the commission and would look forward to doing it in a more active way as a full commissioner.
That sounds very good. Once again, I see no questions for you. Everybody must have really read up on all your information you submitted, so that's good. You're more than welcome to come next week, but you don't have to. And thank you for stepping up and moving from alternate to this full-time position.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, item number 5 here. We have the 244 Greenfield Street acquisition, and Mr. Mark Barnhart, are you with us tonight?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. The floor is yours, sir.
Yes. Good. I've been having
Maybe I lied. You're breaking up.
a little bit of
Mark, you're breaking up.
internet connection problems, so
Yeah, you're having a
forgive
problem.
me if the video's cutting in and out. But
Maybe I lied. You're breaking up.
okay,
Mark, you're breaking up.
I will try. If not, I will give a call in. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good now.
You can hear me?
We can hear you. Well, I can hear you. Everybody
How
can
about if
nod
I
their
stop
head.
the video? Can you hear me now?
Yes. Everybody can nod their head.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I will not go on video. I apologize for that, but it seems to be an issue with my connectivity here. For the record, Mark Barnhart, Director of Community Economic Development for the town. I'm here on behalf of the Affordable Housing Committee to present the request
You might want, Mark, I think you're gonna have to call in.
just
You're having
244 Greenfield Street. It's a small parcel located in Residence B's.
Mark, I think you're gonna have to call in, please. It looks like he logged off. I thought I was gonna have everybody out of here by like 8 o'clock tonight. It's not looking good. I'm glad I didn't place any bets.
This one goes under not your fault.
Thank you. This won't
Alex,
happen
can we
when
get
we're,
a song?
this
Can we
won't
get a
happen
song,
when we're
Alex?
meeting in person.
I thought I should be quiet.
Yeah, we gotta get Dave
Let's
Kelly to
see.
mute you.
Mark is having trouble. He's muted on the call. Can someone unmute the call?
Dave, are you with us? Can you do that?
I'm wondering if he's dialed into the wrong place because I don't see him anywhere.
Does anyone have the number? I'll send it to him.
Cindy just posted it in
Okay.
in the chat, if you see it there.
I didn't put it, I just put it to you, Mark. It's 667-776-9044. 667-776-9044.
Thank you.
Actually, it's 510-338-9438.
Well, that's what
To
we
get
have
into the
on the
web.
agenda. Oh, that was
Well,
for
that's
public.
for the
There he
public to
is.
listen.
He's here.
Oh, good.
At least I saw him. Where'd he go?
Dave, can you give me that number again?
The phone number is 510-338-9438. And the meeting number, which you'll be prompted for, is 126-944-3035. How about now? We hear you.
Yes.
You
We
can?
hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Okay. Good. Apologize for that. I'll start again. Mark Barnhart, Director of Community Economic Development. I'm here on behalf of the Affordable Housing Committee to present the proposed purchase of 244 Greenfield Street. It's a relatively small parcel located in a Residence B zone. The proposed acquisition would be funded through the Housing Trust Fund, for which approval has already been granted by both the Affordable Housing Committee and Board of Selectmen. The proposed acquisition has also been reviewed by, in addition to the Board of Selectmen and the Affordable Housing Committee, the Planning and Zoning Commission, pursuant to 8-24 of the general statutes, and the Parks and Rec Commission, which did a consent to allow a portion of the adjoining town property, which is an unimproved section of Tungus Hill Park, to be used for this purpose, to meet setback, lot size, and other requirements to facilitate future development of affordable housing. The intent would be not to sell the property, but actually retain ownership, so it be kept in perpetuity as affordable housing for as long as the town deems it appropriate. We would then ground lease it, working with a development partner, which would then bring additional equity into the deal and construct the units. We think that it would support at least 2 to 4 units of affordable housing. There is other such housing nearby. The owner-built housing down the street that was developed back in the late 1980s. We also went through a similar process to develop the former Washington Park, which is 10 units of senior housing nearby. Happy to entertain questions at this time. I think it's pretty straightforward. What we're requesting from the RTM is permission to acquire the property.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Representative Woke, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Jay Walk, District 5. Hey, Mark, thanks for being here with us tonight and for getting in touch with my fellow District 5 colleagues on this property on what we think. So I have a question because I've had some constituents get back to me on I think you commented that it isn't, but is it true that when we do purchase this land, this property, that when we do build on it, that we're not going to take a portion of the park? Am I correct on that?
We do need a portion of the park in order to satisfy, to build conventionally, we would need a portion of the park to satisfy lot size, setback, and other requirements. So the intent would be to use a portion of the park as part of the development site. To what extent, I'm not sure. I mean, most of the property obviously is situated with frontage on Greenfield Street, so I think development would tend to be focused more on that portion of the property, but obviously the lot is 244 Greenfield Street in and of itself is quite small, so we need some adjoining property, which is why this particular site was attractive to us, given the proximity, the fact that the town owned abutting property. And before we presented it to you, we wanted to make sure that the Parks and Rec Commission would be in agreement with regard to dedicating a portion of the site for this purpose, similar to what was done with Washington Park.
So, Mark, thanks for that explanation. I think a letter came to Representative Goskoff. I think he answered this letter from a constituent about this issue. Their complaint is that, listen, I think it's more maybe legal or, the town attorney, but their complaint was that taking this property is when the property was given to the town, it was given into the, auspices that it wouldn't be used for anything else but a park, the land. So that's what their complaint is. I think we may have pushback from some people on this, but I'm fine with it. I mean, we need to do something with this land, and thanks for taking care of this for us. I'm done.
No,
thanks, Mark.
Thank you for bringing up that issue. I did look into that further. We actually pulled the deeds for Tungus Hill Park, those that we could find. We don't find any use restrictions as relates to the properties that later became Tungus Hill Park when the town acquired it. But to be safe, we did ask for a full title search to be done on the property that the town owns on Tungus Hill Park. I don't have the results of that back yet, but I would expect to have that later this week in time for the RTM meeting next week.
Thanks, Mark, and happy holidays to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Representative Woke. Representative Iacono?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Representative Iacono, District 8, through you to Mr. Barnhart. Mark, thank you for bringing up the restrictions. So you did run down on a title, and you're just waiting for the results. You'll report that back out to us before we vote?
Correct. Thus far, our indication is there are no use restrictions on the park.
Okay. My second comment really is, well, questions and some comments. I read the minutes from the Affordable Housing meeting. I read the minutes from the Parks and Rec Commission, and you know, the background information. I'm just concerned about the use of the funds for this type of project when we haven't achieved a moratorium yet. When we voted, and I was one of the co-sponsors of the trust fund going into place, and we were allocating funds to build up, I envisioned, and maybe this was a pie in the sky vision, was I envisioned us doing what New Canaan did, was building up a bank in there with $1 million or so that allowed us to build our own destiny, so to say, and help alleviate the affordable housing crisis in Fairfield. And I didn't really envision that we would be spending, you know, money as one-offs that only get us 2 to 4 units. You know, we haven't gotten too far with anything, but now we've depleted the trust fund. So I just wonder if this is really, for lack of a better way to say it, the best bang for our buck, and if you have any commentary on that. I know the chairman of the Affordable Housing Commission seemed to share the same sentiment, or had a similar concern that he raised at the meeting.
Well, one of the biggest impediments to doing affordable housing development, period, is the cost to acquire property, land acquisition cost. And one of the easiest ways for us to fulfill our affordable housing or meet our affordable housing needs is to essentially make that property available at little to no cost to development. That's what we did with Washington Park, in essence, by dedicating town-owned property for which we ground leased it for $1 a year to build 10 units of senior housing. So, you know, there are different approaches, obviously, and I think what we're doing here is allocating a couple $100,000 to acquire a piece of property that would then result in at least 4 units of affordable housing. There are different approaches, but again, one of the best ways that we can do it is essentially make land available so that would further the development of affordable housing here.
Yeah, I understand your point. I just, you know, I'm finding this to be, I don't know that I'm in favor of the piecemeal approach to all of this. If we were a little bit farther ahead in our development and access to affordable housing in a grander scheme, then this would be much more attractive to me, but just the fact that we're doing this as one-offs is a little less enticing. I'm not opposed to it. I just find that this is a slow drag, so to say.
Thank you, Representative Iacono. Representative Carson.
Hi, Mr. Moderator. This is Laura Carson, District 4, through you to Mark Barnhart. Mark, I'm just wondering, is this property have any, I know after the storm, I think Ida, that like around Tungus Hill, those flooded terribly. Is this property in any danger of like being in a flood zone? Do we know anything about that?
It We did check that it is not, nor are there wetlands on either this portion or the abutting town property that would be in the area of development.
Okay, just checking. Thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you, Representative Carson. Representative Galdenzi.
Mr. Moderator, Mr. Barnhart, a couple questions actually. The first, did this property go through the Land Acquisition Commission? I heard a litany of other agencies that weighed in, but I didn't hear that one.
It did not, because it's not intended for open space or conservation.
Okay. You might want to, there was a number of properties that were being looked at by the Land Acquisition Commission to Representative Iacona's comment that may be of interest from a affordable housing perspective as well. As a note. Another question was there an environmental impact study done? I didn't see that in the background.
We did not do a environmental impact study either. At some point, if there are federal dollars involved, we would have to do that with the development. And once we have a better understanding of what the development proposal is, that would be appropriate to look at those issues at that time.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Galdenzi. Representative Garskov.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Mr. Barnhart, thank you for looking into for doing a title search. That is great. Also, I believe we've spoken on this. I just want to make this point, or ask you to make this point for the group here, that this land would not be part of the detention areas, Rooster River detention areas project, which is very close to this, but this land is outside of that territory, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. And also to Representative Iacono's point, I think when we spoke, you also mentioned that there could potentially be other development right adjacent to this in the future, and that there have been several, that this is adjacent to 2 other large development projects that have been done in the past. So it is sort of it doesn't change the fact that this is not a one-off, but a 2 or a 4-off. But there is potential for growth in this of affordable housing right at this general location, correct?
That is correct. We've had some conversations with one of the abutting property owners to discuss the potential.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Garskov. Representative Lambert.
Good evening, Mr. Barnhart, and thank you for coming and answering our questions. You may have even answered my question with your very last comment, but my question was whether or not there was any other purchases or potential purchases that are being identified or considered right now in addition to this one.
Not specifically at this time, but we have had conversations with the abutting property owner as to the potential, and there is interest in pursuing that, but that's not before you at this time.
Understood. Was there anywhere else in town, or were you just focused specifically on this area?
No, I think we would look at other opportunities. To the point previously made, I certainly will reach out to land acquisition, and we'll also take a look at any potential opportunities that they might have as well.
But just to be clear, there's nothing other than what we're here today to discuss that's being actively considered?
What is before you tonight is just the acquisition of 244 Greenfield Street, correct?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Lambert. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Does anybody want to ask anything else of Mr. Barnhart? He'll be returning again next week.
I will indeed. Hopefully with better internet connection.
Hopefully. Well, yeah, you get tough. All right, seeing none, we'll let you leave for the night, Mr. Barnhart, and we appreciate your presentation, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, folks. adjourn the meeting now. Hopefully everybody has their dial-in information to get into their committees and discuss all of these presentations we had tonight of the appointments, reappointments, and the 244, what is it, Greenfield Street. So we'll adjourn the
Greenfield.
meeting, and we'll see everybody next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Listen to you shortly.
Thank you, Mark.